Why do we need to feel inspired? What is inspiration? What comes in when you feel inspired? Is it even important? Do you need it? Because in some previous videos, I'm like, if you're not feeling that great, if you're not in the mood to sit down and meditate and pray, if you're not in a grateful kind of place, you must look for your inspiration. Why do I say that? How do you even know how to look for an inspiration? How does inspiration come in? What do you find inspiring about life? Because if you're depressed and anxious all the time, if you're really, really, really depressed, that's being devoid of inspiration if you think about it. Someone that you think is like utterly depressed in hell, do you think of them as inspiring? Do they inspire you in that mood, in that hell that they're living in? Do you draw inspiration from them? No, it's usually people that are excited about life. They have some passion, they have a lust for life, they want to get out there and a lust for life. It's like, I say lust is bad. Lust in the sense that like you're seeking yourself, your energetic self in something. But having this gratuitous, loving, expansive, like, oh man, I want to get in there and like just enjoy myself. That's inspiring. And there's a lot of different ways that you can find inspiration in your life, guys. Maybe you guys find me to be inspiring, whatever. Like, oh wow, Darius, I like how detached you are. I like how you don't care. I like how, unapologetic and raw you keep stuff. I like all of these things. Guys, I had to cultivate this. On some level, it is your base level of being. But to undo all of the layers of shit that you become conditioned with over time, to undo all of that, there does take some work, there does take some trying and effort. And when you're not feeling inspired, it's hard to get yourself in a place that makes you want to put in the work and makes you want to devote yourself sincerely. First, you have to identify, like, okay, what am I devoting myself to? And then once I actually have a firm understanding of what that is, now I actually have to go and do it. And so it's like, in a way, this inspiration can kind of push you onto the path that you've kind of been avoiding, intentionally or unintentionally. So when I think of inspiration, like the one thing that I think of, probably like one of the most inspiring moments in my life, this was like 1995, I think. So Forrest Gump, the movie, came out, I think, 95. I was 14, and I had gone to the theater to see it with my mom. And when we left the theater, we're walking back to the car in the parking lot, and I just tell my mom, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I can run forever, because he runs in the movie a bunch of different times. And it's like, I feel like I can do that. I feel like I have that. It's almost like a message comes in, an energy of the movie plays out, and it's like, oh my God, how beautiful. And it moves you, and you're like, I can do that. I have that. And so then it's like, maybe you watch one of my videos and you're like, wow, Darius has that. Does that mean yeah, it means you have that too. You have that inspiration. Guys, you are that inspiration. When circumstantial shit happens in life that makes things kind of, distasteful to the ego, it's like, oh, I don't like this, and I'm stuck here. I feel stuck, and I'm lonely, and nobody understands me, and what do I want out of my life? What is my purpose? You start asking all kinds of questions. There's not a lot of inspiration there, man. There's not. And it's a very helpless feeling. It's a very like, where do I have the will to even continue living in this? I ask myself those questions all the time. When I was like in my darkest hell, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, why? And then the why would never come. The why was always in front of me, but it would never come. I couldn't see through this layer of shit that was permeating every aspect of how I saw and was. And it was so helpless and debilitating, right? Like demoralizing, like I said in one of my videos, that like you see other people that are inspired by life, and they're trying new things, and they're exploring, and they've made themselves like this life into an adventure for themselves, and they're spontaneous, and they're free, and they're fun. And you're like, why can't I have that? Well, it's like, dude, you are that. And there's like this barrier between, there's this very firm barrier between you having that and realizing like that you are that, and then like this outside thing that you think you have to reach for to get an inspiration, and then now you bring it into you, and now I'm inspired. Yeah, God brings a movie or a TV show or a person or a message or a video, anything in your external. He brings it to you so you can get momentary feelings of inspiration, so that you can kind of wake yourself up out of this depressed shit that you've been going through. It doesn't even have to be depressed. It can just be negative, nasty, cynical, and sarcastic, and you know, like. So I tell you, you have to look for your inspiration, right? Like I said, I created a playlist of music. I'm like the most badass songs. They're getting me inspired. When I was thinking about, when I was going through, I'm coming out of, my depression, and before I go on my road trip of redemption, I'm seeing all these signs, like I was saying, the 11:11 all the time, and it's trying to wake me up. And like these intuitive nudgings are coming in, and it's like I'm feeling drawn to this, I'm feeling drawn to that. And I'm living in this like little studio. I don't have a lot, I just had started my job, maybe like 6 months earlier, a year earlier. I was kind of working a lot. I was working overtime. I was trying to accumulate money. I was trying to build something. And I just always, I'm like, this can't be it. This job that I'm at, this can't be it. This can't be my final destination. I'm not gonna be in this job for the rest of my life. I know that. It's just soul sucking shit. I know I can't do it. But okay, I had to endure it, fine. But while every day that I wake up, I go to, I get, because I was working from home, I'm like, okay, I get up, plop my ass in the chair, I'm working from home, and then the day goes by, and I get off work. It's like, what am I doing? What is this inspiring to me? Do I feel inspired in my life? So I get these nudgings, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I had to look for something more within myself. And at first I'm looking outside of myself, obviously. I knew it was within me, but I had so much karmic shit built up on top of me that I had to start cultivating it and cultivating it and cultivating it. And how did I do that? I started buying little pieces of stuff. I bought a horseshoe. I bought some icons, that were personal significance to me. I bought this like Native American wheel, the red, yellow, white, and black one, like the wheel, because these all have significant meanings to me. I was getting, some psychic readings done. I was watching. Eventually, I started watching some tarot readings. I was reading more and more spiritual stuff. I'm watching these movies. I'm getting inspired. And then I start cultivating this kind of ritual where every day, every morning, and every night, and multiple times a day, I would light an incense, and I would go around and I would bless each of these things that I had brought into my life in my room. So I'm creating this like sphere of energy in my room. I'm purifying myself, I'm purifying the room, and I'm trying to cultivate a connection with God. I'm like, through my devotion to these things, like, you can say it's an idolatry, but if you use it to channel, it's fine. If you use it to point to something, it's fine. Like a shrine, right? I had a mini shrine created in my room, and I'm feeling inspired. I'm like, God, I'm gonna try. I had been trying my whole life up until now, but I don't really know what else to do, bro. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna devote myself. And so every day, it didn't happen overnight. Every day, I'm putting myself more and more and more out there. And I'm really trying to feel gratitude. I'm like, what can I be thankful for? I don't have a lot right now, and I still feel kind of like shit. But I'm gonna try somewhere to find something. And you hold on to whatever you can, man. Don't let anyone take it from you. Even me. I tell you all of this stuff is bullshit, your desires are bullshit, all these things. If there's something that you're hoping for, that you're inspired to be, don't even let me tell you to not follow your dreams, okay? But you do also, there's like a fine balance in recognizing how it can be an illusory thing that you're pursuing, while also knowing that there are possibilities, aren't there? And so I knew that there were possibilities for me in my life, you know? It wasn't like so much like, oh, I want something better, I need something better until I have this, this, and this. No, I didn't even know what it could possibly be on the horizon that would be better. You know, like 5 years earlier at that point, it had been a few years earlier, I had this, you know, knowing that I was going to start a YouTube channel, but I didn't know how far away that eventuality was going to be. I didn't know how much longer it was going to take me, that I had to go on this entire road trip across America to like re-find myself and like let go of all of this shit and like truly repent and truly redeem myself and rediscover myself that I once was for glimpses and brief moments, and then like I'm like, was that the real me, or was it not? What's real? What's not? Where am I? Who am I? And all these things are starting to dissolve around me, and it's like this inspiration is naturally arising. And as I'm purifying myself more and more, and I'm bringing myself more and more and more into myself, and once I finally, like, the real turning point was like, yeah, you can do the ritual, you can do the inspiration, and oh, I feel so great and all that. None of that shit mattered until I actually sat down and started meditating. Okay? Because all of that's kind of like a prayer and a thankfulness, and yes. But until you really tap into the true stillness and really burn through all of the karmic shit and bring in the gratitude with the stillness, now you're fully transformed. And that's where the real power is. You're incorporating every aspect of the good into your life, and you integrate this and you integrate that, and you learn this and you learn that, and you realize this and you realize that, and all of a sudden you're whole again. And then life transforms around you. Your reality literally shifts. It can happen overnight, right? Like where you have the final clarity even, or an awakening. You're like, oh, I see. I'm like, I was looking for this, and now I see it, and now I'm so inspired just by nature, just by the way things move, just by people that come into my reality and leave, just by how I feel, just by how connected I am to the one. I'm like, oh man, God, thank you for bringing it back, because I had glimpsed it many times through awakenings, and like, I feel great, but I didn't know how to balance it. I didn't know how to keep it. I didn't, because then external shit would start, you know, fucking with me, and it would fuck with me, and then I would, you know, react to it, and it would react to me. It creates like that whole, you know, situation. And then eventually I'm like, oh, it's clearly telling me that I can't be this way. Like I can't get away with feeling good. People are trying to bring you down, haters gonna hate kind of shit, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, guys, it's a powerless kind of prison place where you're letting other people's opinions and their perceptions of you dictate to you what you're gonna be. You know, you don't hide your light, man. You don't hide the inspiration that you now become. And so, like I told you with that one guy that was telling me, man, I'm like so jaded, I can't bring myself to like feel grateful. I'm so angry, I'm so hurt, I'm so upset with my life. You know, and all that is like, oh, I'm upset with my life situation. It's my problematic life. Like, you're still in this kind of mental prison trap. That's why I'm telling you guys, you have to start feeling the gratitude, and you have to start meditating, because until you dissolve these mental constructs that you're very bought into, you can't see the true inspiration that you are and how it reflects back and forth. You can't. It is a direct impediment. It's literally blocking you. It's siphoning you off. It's shutting you down. It's contracting you. It's cold. It's this barren, like, void wasteland of desert of nothingness that you are. It's like everywhere you walk, there's this paradise that's hidden, and all you see is hell, right? Different people are, oh, they're triggering me in different life situations, and she said this, and my mom said this, and oh, my life sucks, and you know, you've bought into all these lies. Where can you find inspiration in that? So you might watch a show, like a reality TV show. You might watch, you know, like Animal Planet, like animals, and it's like, oh, look at them, look at, see, because like this is the weird that thing that happens is that when you're younger, you might derive inspiration from certain things that now they don't longer appeal to you in the same way, and now entirely different things bring you inspiration that once wouldn't have, or the things that you used to derive inspiration from now no longer inspire you. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was young, I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, and I was in Chicago, okay? And this was when the Bulls were like the fucking shit. Dynasty Bulls, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Oh my God, I loved the Bulls. I never missed a game. I loved the Bulls, right? Back-to-back championships, 2 3-peats, the best team ever, right? Amazing. I was so fortunate to grow up during that time with that in that city and experience all of these things. So for me, Jordan and the Bulls were like a huge inspiration, right? But I can't I can't relate to that. I still can. I can tap into it, but I don't relate to it in the same way now that I'm older and a little bit wiser and a little bit more, you know, life has played out and I'm just at a different stage. So now, well, now I've become my own inspiration, and I inspire myself through God and through the reality. I see it all the time. But let's say even later when I was in my 30s and my 40s, maybe the Jordan era Bulls wouldn't inspire me anymore. But I could sit down and read something. I could, you know what really was like, holy fucking shit, the first time I ever read it was Who Am I by Ramana Maharshi. I was like, I had never heard it put in that way, this like very non-duality, eliminate all of the layers of what you are, and then what you're left with is yourself, and then basically all is self, all is God, all is one consciousness, and it's all ripples and waves on a one consciousness, right? Or that I was like, the first time I read it, I was like, oh my fucking God, like I was like, oh my God, this is so hardcore. I'm like, it was almost like the first time I sat down and I read The Power of Now, like, when I was in my early 20s, when the first Power of Now had just come out, like maybe a couple years before he was on Oprah, Eckhart Tolle, and before he became super famous. I stumbled upon The Power of Now at like a Barnes and Noble. And that was the first book where I was like, oh my God, this actually makes sense. Like, this is what I've been looking for. And then it helped me reinterpret all of the different spiritual stuff. It helped me reframe it. And that's what happens, is that you come across a certain spiritual teaching at a certain time, and it helps you reframe the things that you had understood up until then. And then you can go back to the stuff that you had read before and now look at it with a new lens, a more aware lens, where you're actually outside of your mental lens and you're just seeing it for the honesty and the truth of it, what it is, and that it resonates with you in your heart. Or like, there's some times where it's really weird, my relationship with Jesus, because I'll go months without, I don't know, not necessarily, I think about Jesus all the time. I think about how he experienced his life. It's almost like I try to put myself in his shoes as much as possible to see what he was trying to be. He's my number one example. That's why I use him so much in my teachings. And like Eckhart Tolle and Yogananda and Ramana Maharshi and Krishnamurti, those are probably like my top 5 influences, But Jesus is like well above and beyond all of them. And then like, it's like, why? I'll read his words, man. And he's so fucking hardcore. I love talking about how hardcore you have to be in extreme, okay? And I always saw through all the dogmatic shit, all the he's the son of God and he died for our sins, all whatever, he was of a virgin birth and all whatever stuff, man. All that shit didn't matter. What mattered was his message. It was this like very pure, very extreme, like, love beyond anything that had come before it. Love. Like, so sometimes I'd go back and I'd read one of the Gospels. Let's say I'm like, oh, today I'm in the mood to read the Gospel of Matthew, or another day I'd be in the mood to read the Gospel of John. And I wouldn't sit down and read the whole Gospel because that would take a while, but I might read half of it. or I might go to a specific passage and then read through, a bunch of little mini chapters in it. And I never really was like huge on the parables. Like I didn't really give a fuck too much about Jesus's parables. I was always looking for the in-between stuff, not what other people thought of him and not his parables. And I was looking at all the other words. I didn't care even about the miracles as much or whatever. It was his words. I really liked it when he was calling them out like hypocrites. I really liked it when like he goes to the fig tree and he curses the fig tree and he's like, they're like amazed that like this fig tree shrivels. And it's such a short little passage, but that's faith. He's like, that's prayer. You speak and it comes out in this channeled way. If you're very astute and you're aware of your internal and you understand what meditation and prayer is when you've stepped onto the path further and further, you're going to see how hardcore that passage is. And if you say to the mountain, it can go into the sea. Like, yeah, it's delusional, it's insane. But he's just trying to put to words how infinitely powerful you are if you really believe and have faith. And that's, oh my God, that was so every time I read it, it's so inspiring. I like that he didn't put up with people's shit. I like that he never made himself small. He was always challenging people's opinions. And I found that very inspiring. You're made how you're made, man. Maybe you're more like docile and just chill and you're not very passionate and over the top aggressive and like fiery, maybe like I am. But how you are is perfect. You don't have to emulate yourself and be like, I want to be like Jesus. I want to be like Darius. I like they're so fiery and they're always in people's faces and aggressive. You don't have to be that way, guys, to be inspired. You see a yogi sitting by the river and he's blissed out meditating and being one. That is inspiration. I could even see like, some spiritual religious procession. They're like doing some ritual and they're all very still and they're praying. That's inspiring to me. I listen to, like I've said before, to a Gregorian chant or like a Greek Orthodox chanting or a Buddhist chanting, where they're just like channeling a loving spiritual energy and singing and doing, that's inspiring. Because it's so close to the loving divine energy that is. It's so close. It's right next to it. That it resonates on that vibration and frequency. It's so quantum that it can't help but come into you. It really is like that. It really is. And then eventually, how can you not see how miraculous everything is? How can you not, you yourself, become the miracle? It's like every single person that's walking around, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go shopping, you go to your job, you work, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you work you're a veterinarian, you help animals, you help people, you're a customer service person, a retail person, any mundane job aspect of life, that is all a miracle that you are not even aware of how much of a miracle it is. It's like, oh, you go to a hospital and all these women are giving birth to kids and oh my God, the miracle of life. And oh yeah, obviously it's a miracle, giving birth to a child, miracle, right? You don't have to go to like the nursery ward and see all these babies and like, oh, it's so cute. When you step out of this hellish mind that is so cynical and nasty and bitchy, when you let go of that, every aspect of reality reveals its miraculousness to you. And now, because you yourself have merged with it, because you realize that you yourself are already it. That's the merging, right? It's like the union lies in realizing, right? In recognizing and seeing truly how the nature of stuff works. And then you make that leap, you make that connection, you expand into that place where I am it and it is me. So I want to help, it helps me. I give, it comes back to me. I'm not trying to trick God into saying, hey, I know that if I give, it's going to come back to me. Hey, God, let me give a little because secretly I want to get. No. That's not how you approach it. The inspiration comes from giving without expecting in return, knowing that you're provided for always. That's what it is. And it's basically like, in a moment, I see, and then if I need, it comes. And it can be any way it needs to come, but it'll come if it's needed. I can't tell God, I mean, I could, and it may or may not appear, but I can't be like, hey, God, I need the Porsche. And it's like, oh, poof, Porsche out of, it's like, it's very above and beyond what would be needed. Now, someone needs healing. Someone needs food. Someone needs money. Someone needs something to get them to the next stage. Someone needs something of purification. Well, then that's much easier to get because you're not asking for a lot. You're sincerely asking for help. And then how could God not help you? All of your prayers are answered in one way or another, guys. All of your sincerest prayers are answered in one way or another. The trick of it is realizing how it was answered and why it was answered and when it came in and when it was meant to come in. Sometimes it comes, like I say, right away. Sometimes it comes later, and you need to be okay with the later. And in the meantime, you're looking for that inspiration. You're channeling that inspiration. You're looking for, at least in the beginning, little snapshots that you can perk yourself up with. It's like doing a shot of espresso, an espresso gratitude inspiration. You're like, oh, I feel great. Let's go. Boom. Take that energy and run with it. Those days you wake up, maybe most days you wake up and you feel like shit. That one day you wake up and you're like, you know what? It's not so bad. Go outside and do something with it. Go to the park. Go walk on the trail. Go to the beach if you're by the water. Go to the lake if you're by the water, right? Go to a pool. Go to the bowling alley and shoot some pool or play some bowling. Go do something. Get out. Don't stay stuck in this energy. Live, And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I have to leave. You could even stay inside and start thinking of like, hey, what would I like to do today? I'm going to think outside of the box. Every day, I plop my ass on the sofa and I watch, whatever TV shows and movies. I'm going to do something different. I'll go in the backyard and I'll sit and I'll look at the birds. I'll just look at the birds and see if I can see this miraculous that Darius is talking about. See if I can see it. See if I can open myself a little bit. See if I can push a boundary a little bit. Just birds, man, just birds. I love watching birds. I love how they fly. I love how they're free. They're not even aware of how free they are. It's just second nature to them, right? We have to almost trick ourselves into understanding that we're free, but they're already free. They're the embodiment of freedom. They just come and go as they please, not limited by time or space. They can literally go anywhere on the horizon, anywhere down and up and over and across and float and glide, right? Think about yourself that way and how you can float and glide through life. Yeah, it might be insane to other people. It might be insane to your average person. Oh, this guy thinks he can float and glide and fly. Well, it's an energy, guys. It's an energy. And if you convince yourself enough of it, if you can convince yourself of it enough, oh, then you can fly. You think it's insane that there's stories of people levitating and walking on water and any miraculous thing that's ever happened? You think Jesus was the only one that could perform miracles? You think Krishna or Buddha or Muhammad wasn't performing miracles? You think that when you purify yourself that you aren't the walking miracle? I guarantee you guys that are on this path have had miraculous shit happen in your lives that you couldn't explain. So are you not the walking miracle? If miraculous things are happening around you, you think that it's only meant for one specific moment in your life and the rest of your life is meant to be shit? No. The more you get in touch with yourself and how amazing everything is, the more the miracles start popping up all around you guys. You have to believe in miracles for miracles to appear, or else you won't see. It's like you have to believe that they're possible, because if you don't buy into it, you're like, I'm very, scientific and there's no such thing as a miracle. Well, then when a real miracle happens, you're going to immediately try and rationalize it and explain it scientifically, instead of just being okay with this awe of like, oh, I don't know how that happened, and I don't even care to explain it because I recognize it's already, it's just miraculous. And so within the inspiration lies the miraculousness, and within the miraculousness lies the inspiration. They feed each other. And that's the balance, that's the harmony. There's always the balance, man, in energies. Always. You may not understand them, but they are there. They have to be. So keep searching for your inspiration. If you're not feeling so great, it's the holidays right now, right? Maybe a lot of people, they go through tough times with holidays because maybe they're far away from their family. Maybe they're like me, like where once I had alienated myself from my family. I wasn't in touch with friends or family, and I was always alone on the holidays and never really truly looked forward to it. I always liked holidays, but it was rough sometimes, because it's natural to feel alone and alienated if you're alone and alienating yourself. You can always reach out. There's like this thing where, you get this, I want to pick up the phone and call my mom or call my aunt or call my friend, but something stops you. What is that something for me, it would usually be, well, if I get on the phone with them, I'm going to have to talk about my life, and I'm going to have to go over all of this pain because that's what I've been experiencing. If I'm going to be honest, and they say, hey, how have you been doing? Am I going to lie and say everything's been great? Or am I going to tell them the truth and say everything's been shitty? Well, do I really want to unload all of this fucking negative shit onto them so that they themselves are going to feel helpless? Like, oh, I can't help my friend or help my kid or help my nephew or whatever. And it's going to make them feel like shit because I feel like shit. We derive our own, you have empathy and you sympathize and you're like, oh, I don't really know, how am I going to get him? My mom, like I said, she was at her wit's end with trying to get me out of my depression. She didn't know what to do. And it wasn't for her to do anything. It was for me. And you have to realize that about yourself. If you're in a depression, if you're feeling like shit, no one's coming to save you. So find that inspiration, I implore you. You can. You can. You have that power. You can. You're not meant to feel like shit all the time. So many people, this depression and anxiety epidemic, so many more and more people disillusioned with their lives. At what point do you lose hope? At what point do you give up? You give up on the external, then you give up on yourself. Why? Well, you feel helpless, you feel powerless, right? You're like, what can I really do to change my life and improve it? Maybe the way you're even framing it to begin with is incorrect, guys. Maybe what you think is improvement wouldn't really be improvement. And so you're going to stay on that cycle of chasing stuff that you think is improvement, but once you achieve that improvement, it's not all it was cracked up to be, and now you're basically right back where you started, and that's going to disillusion you even more eventually. The only truth lies on the path from all of this shit. So find that inspiration. You can. You can. And then you are the inspiration. You are.